Hi, and welcome to the Coffee Chat Etc. podcast. I'm your host, Tracy Cox, and today I'm delighted to welcome another inspiring guest. Today I'm joined by Adriana Duran, a mentor and coach from El Paso, Texas. We're having a really honest conversation about life, change, and finding space for yourself again. And I think so many of us can relate to this. Just a little reminder before we start that some of our conversations may touch on sensitive or personal experiences. So please listen in whatever way feels right for you and get help if you're affected in any way. And if you love the conversations here at Coffee Chat Etc., why not come and join our growing community of women? Our Coffee Chat Etc. membership gives you access to coaching courses, connection to like-minded women, and a supportive space to help you navigate your next chapter. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might enjoy it too. So grab yourself a coffee, get comfy, and let's start. Welcome, Adriana, today. Adriana, it's lovely to see you. Whereabouts are you in the world today?
So I'm in El Paso, Texas, in the U.S.
Wow, so it's probably very hot over there. Were you born there? Have you grown up in Texas?
Yes, I'm born and raised here in Texas.
Amazing. And Adriana, we've just had a little conversation as well about what you're doing at the moment, working with amazing women, using your platform to help others and to coach others online. And I'm just wondering, I'm curious as to where that comes from and what has driven you in your lifetime to want to give to others and to create this safe space for women to come on and talk to you.
So like I mentioned, I am very high on personal development and becoming a better individual. But ultimately, no matter as far as my profession, my career, and the roles that I've had, I did feel that if I had somebody in my life when I became a full-time stepmom at 24, things would have been easier or less stressful.
Okay.
At 24, I became a full-time stepmom. I had 3 kids, different stages, um, elementary school, middle school, high school. I had a 5-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 15-year-old, all
That's a lot of
different stages.
responsibility. Yeah.
Yes, all different stages. And having them full-time really took a toll on trying to not just ensuring that they were safe and we had a safe household for them, but even for myself, adjusting with
Of
them.
course.
They were all in different stages, and it was so challenging to be present, 100% present with them, and be able to assist them in this transition because they were even themselves were going through a transition. So we were all in transition in the household, and
Yeah.
being able to, if I would have known that I could have had someone by my side, right? A passenger that could help me through those challenging moments and just being
Sure.
able to express everything that I was going through without judgment, just, like letting me know I was on the right path, I think would have
Yeah.
been so much different.
Absolutely. And what challenges did you face? I mean, I can guess one is at 4 years old, if you've not had children before, all of a sudden you're kind of gifted with 3 beautiful souls of all different challenging abilities. What was it that was the hardest for you personally?
The hardest for me was, can I provide a safe household for them to feel that they were in a family, not in multiple families?
Sure.
Being raised as, just in my home, my parents, my mom was a huge advocate on maintaining a good household for us as she had three girls.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do the same thing for them. But it was so challenging because they kept jumping back and forth, when they were
Of
not with
course.
us, they were with mom.
Yeah.
And how can you establish a strong household when even themselves, they don't even know how to feel if they're with you or if they're with someone else. And I
Sure,
think that was the
absolutely.
most challenging thing.
Yeah, and I think with that as well, there's the circle of control to a certain element, isn't there, that you've got no control, and that
Well,
must be really hard as a new stepmom trying to figure out what's best for them and to provide a very secure base as well. Did you have your mother to help guide you along the way?
I now I say, when we're young, oh, my
Yeah,
mom, but now it's like my mom's my best friend. And one of the
great.
things that my mom would always say, it's not the kid's fault. So anything that is
Sure.
happening, any issues that may come up, it's not the kid's fault. They didn't ask for this. So she was very present when we had those challenging moments. Instead of me responding as a stepmom or my husband's wife, is responding as an advocate for them. I am that extra
Yeah,
person for them that they might not have with mom or dad.
sure. And what was your biggest challenge that you could kind of foresee from having the children at such a young age?
Not knowing a lot of stuff, but then realizing that sometimes parents don't even know what they're doing and they play it off pretty
Absolutely.
good
Yeah,
and they go with the
definitely.
flow.
Sure.
And I think that was more of a mental thing. As far as, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not enough when it comes to being a parent, but who parent is, since they kind of go with the flow as life throws those punches at them. I was in the same situation.
But do you know something, Adriana? I think just speaking to you, you've had the will there to learn and to look into self-development and reflect on you, as well as, I'm guessing, learning about motherhood when you've just been given 3 children to look after at various different stages. I've got 2 girls within 22 months, and I had to constantly adapt and fluctuate and go up and down the roller coaster of parenthood. And it's really difficult because it is in flux constantly. So
Mhm.
it must have been really difficult for you. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Did you ever get to that kind of stage where you thought, I've got this now?
I'm going to say probably like 3 years, 4 years into it,
Okay,
that I was able to bring in my career as, I had leadership roles and kind of established that into the household. I got criticized a lot because everybody thought I had a little, army going on in my household, but it was being able to establish a certain structure for them
sure.
that allowed them to feel confident about what they were doing. And it was
Yeah,
just in household chores. We were all part of the household, we were all in unit, and everybody had something to do. Um,
sure.
Rewarding them when, they were able to accomplish things. So I would say 3 to 4 years, that's when I felt like, okay, we got this. We're
Yeah,
all in
yeah,
this together. And
yeah.
everyone was just flowing and it was just a natural. So anything that would happen outside of our household wouldn't really mix with our household because they knew the difference. They knew
Yeah.
when they were home and when they were not home.
So there was strong boundaries there. And I think that helps children to feel secure, which is fantastic. So that's a journey for you. What actually got you into women then? Because obviously that was about the children. So how did that change into supporting women? Was that something that you were driven to because of something that happened to you, or is it just something that you were passionate about?
So I did have to take counseling and I thought I was
Okay.
going crazy. And I said, no, I need therapy. I need therapy to be able to release whatever it is that I'm going through to show up better for them and even for my husband. And I started to realize because I've seen it in others. I've seen it in my sister, my older sister, to where we forget about ourselves because we're constantly pouring into everyone else. And before we realize, we're so exhausted, we're so drained. But just having those small moments of, you know, maybe 15 minutes, and everybody laughs because I would say I would give myself 15 minutes in the closet and I would hide from everyone. And actually,
Hopefully with coffee and cake.
2 days ago, my youngest, Matthew, he's like, I never knew why you would hide in the closet. I just knew
Right.
that, oh, you were in the closet. He's like, but now I understand. Now I
Sure.
understand that you needed that time for yourself. And if it was only 15 minutes, it makes sense. And giving just that example of, 15 minutes in the closet, that's what caught me thinking into how can I give back with my life experiences and, my education and, getting certified as a coach to other women in increasing the awareness that not everything has to be high level stress,
Yeah,
that sometimes we can just, it's okay if the dishes are in the sink. Those 15 minutes are probably going to be better for yourself than stressing about washing the dishes. So that's like a very basic sample. But those were things that came to my mind because we always forget about ourselves instead of putting ourselves
absolutely.
first to have all the energy that we need to give to those that are under our responsibility.
Yes, definitely. And I don't think it's just about the physical, it's about the mental and the emotional and sometimes the spiritual as well. Because I know when I was bringing the girls up, I love my spiritual practices, but sometimes I felt quite broken. There's things
Mhm.
that are thrown at you in life, whether it's relationships, friendships. And I think taking time out really to focus on that helps to give you a real grounding as well to be able to continue. So what kind of practices did you do for yourself to kind of
A lot.
heal the mental, the emotional?
So a lot of it did help me through therapy. And one of the things that I got from therapy was strike, go on strike. And I really
Ah,
used
okay.
that quite a bit. Where today I am not going to, be after anyone. If you want to pick up, you pick up. If you want to watch the dish, you wash the dishes. I'm not doing anything. And
Great.
having that strong will of saying, no, I'm going to strike for myself because I just want to sit on the couch and watch a movie. I just want to read a book that I haven't read in like, 6, 7 months.
Yeah.
Being able to set that boundary for myself without thinking, I still need to do this or I need to be, after Matthew, after Junior. And I think that was one of the greatest things that I ever did was just go on strike. When I needed some time for myself is I'm on strike. And they knew
Yeah.
what that meant.
Yeah.
It did create some chaos in the household, but they started to realize, oh my gosh, she's on strike. She's not going to, jump and cook for us. She's not going to do these things for us. And I think that was one of the things that really helped me. Obviously, down the line, as we, change, meditation and being able to kind of hone in when it comes to like spirituality, staying true to myself,
Yeah.
giving myself that quiet because I love my quiet and peace. I think now is one of the things that's the strongest that I do.
Sure. I think when my kids were growing up, I called it meditation in the afternoon because I'm definitely, I don't know why, but I must have had a former life in the Mediterranean because I love a siesta. And I was like, right, I'm going for a meditation. But that was actually my time to shut the door, listen to a podcast, listen to a meditation, meditate myself, and that then enabled me to recharge ready for the next stage. And I don't think my daughters have actually got to that stage where they can understand that yet. So it is difficult for children, I think, to be able to reflect and understand that. But it is so important for mothers to have that. Now the
Yes.
children are getting older. What is it you do now? Do they come and visit you? Are they living with you?
So they're all out of the house, so we're empty nesters. So it's kind of nice because
Wow.
it's like, oh my God, I'm 41 and we're empty nesters. We do
Yeah.
have two grandbabies, and
Oh,
they
wow.
just announced we're
Congratulations.
having another one in December, so that's really exciting.
Yeah.
But now the meetings are different. Meetings are more intentional to where it's not like we just show up. No, we show up with intention. Now it's like if I'm
Yeah.
going to have, lunch with my son or, it's more intentional about you and me, two individuals that can have a conversation. When I
Yeah.
spend time with my daughter, it's that mother-daughter, but also that showing up as, the support that she needs in a different level, not she needs help. No, more of being a supportive individual in their lives, not really parenting. And that is the greatest thing ever. It's like, I don't have to parent anymore. I'm just here
Yeah.
as support and guidance. in the lives that they've chosen.
That's a great place to be, because I think when you have the empty nesters, are you finding that women now are going, right, the children have left the home, it's time for me, and it's time for me to fulfill my purpose now?
I do feel that. Um, and I think that's where I'm at now. And we actually had a conversation, my husband and I, not too long ago, about how you don't want people to come over. You don't, you love your peace. I get it. But then I turn around and it's like, well, life can't be the same. Before we had everyone in the household, it was chaotic. Now everyone has their own place. And I feel I'm in a stage where I am building.
Okay.
And not that I am barely fulfilling what I want, because throughout, the time that we've had him at home, I did go to school. I was going through my master's while, we were raising three kids. So I was building on my career. But I think now that I am more focused, it's been 4 years now that I'm in coaching, that I'm building. I'm in a building
Yes,
stage. And it just
I
feels
like
so
that.
nice. It
Yeah.
feels so nice to be in this space that I am right now.
Yeah, good. And congratulations on that as well. That's
Thank
great.
you.
And I think it's really great to go back and educate yourself as well, because it's all tools in the toolbox that you can use. And I think you're at the right place where you are now to be able to start helping other individuals. So tell me about the women that you are coaching. Are they a certain age? Do they have certain pain points?
So women that are focused in the stress reduction coaching program that I have are
Mhm.
women that have never experienced coaching,
Oh, okay.
and they have no idea what coaching really is. And I've been able to, then this comes up as conversation, where you kind of say, "Hey, have you ever experienced coaching?" "No, what is that?" So then we kind of go into conversation, and they're all like in 30s and 45
Yeah.
age gap. They're all mothers, working moms. They work full time. They have kids. They still have their kids at the house. Their households are chaotic, and they're in this stage where they've had enough. They're exhausted, they're tired, and they want some type of change. And bringing in and kind of sharing
Okay.
my program with them has been like an eye opener to where, oh my God, like this is so perfect. Like it's working for me right now. Increasing their self awareness, increasing their confidence, and ultimately reducing the level of stress of how they're actually showing up and deciding,
Yeah.
what to make something a big deal and what not to make a big deal. And
Yeah.
being able to see that shift in them, it's like, okay, yes, like it works. But yeah, they're all working moms, never heard of coaching, and they just had enough.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. So what do you advise women to do? I mean, I'm guessing a lot of the listeners are late mums, or becoming empty nesters. So the stress, I suppose, is very different then.
Yes.
But what do you advise your ladies to do, if they are flat out, exhausted, emotionally, physically, mentally?
I always talk about, and I talk about it on the podcast, and we talk about it a lot, is you got to fill your cup, whatever it may be. If it's meditation, if it's
Yeah.
time for yourself, if it's the 15 minutes in the closet, you got to start with something small. I do what's called, 30 minutes for yourself once a day, and you have 30 minutes to do whatever you want, and schedule those 30 minutes to, if you want to read a book for 30 minutes, read a book for 30 minutes. If you want to fall asleep for 30 minutes, fall asleep for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But maybe gradually start, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but actually stop and fill your cup, because we give so much, and that's what continuously maintain us at a drained state that
Yeah.
before we know it, we're in completely burnout.
Well, my friend actually said to me a few weeks ago, because she's an older lady. I'm not going to say that, but she's actually just hit 60, but she looks about 50. There's no problem there.
Nice.
But she was emotionally exhausted, because even when her children are in a later stage, they still sometimes demand work, and there's
Yes.
still emotional ties there and mental ties, and it can get quite exhausted. And she said to me, she said, my battery is empty. As she said, I need to go and recharge it. And this is what she was doing with reading books and taking time out and going for walks in the fresh air, getting in nature, and that helps to recharge us. So it's very similar to the cup syndrome. But I always say, yeah, if your battery is below 60%, you need to start charging it up.
And even when it's not low, kind of train yourself to still fill your cup, even if we're not at the very bottom.
Yeah,
And I can resonate with what she said as far as, having older kids and the emotional part of it. And that is very hard because you still want to show up as their parent. But one thing that has really helped me is kind of stepping back, and you're not parenting them anymore. They're
yeah,
adults and they're making their own decisions, and
yeah,
accepting that whatever decision they made is for their own good because they made their own decision, but not really dwell on it. And I think that's
yeah,
really helped me kind of set that boundary to allow them to live their mistakes, live their life, and just be there as a support, to
sure.
kind of decrease that emotional attachment with them.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I know that went through quite a lot of trauma as a child. And when I had the children, some of that started coming back up, and I could tell that. And my children basically told me with the attachment to them and wanting to be in their life and being anxious about being there for them. And I think when, they're older, they start holding the mirror up to you and going, actually, this needs to change. This isn't quite normal, mum. You shouldn't be trying to phone me every week to find out
Yeah.
what I've been doing, where I've been. And that was a really reflective moment for me, actually. And I went to therapy in my 50s, and because I needed to work that out as well, because I think a lot of women have suffer from trauma in their lifetimes, and that becomes complex. I think that becomes really complicated. How do you unpick that, Adriana, when you're talking to women?
It's mostly stop and step back.
Okay.
Stop and step back and look at how you want to show up. Sometimes we want to think we're showing up a certain way, and we're probably more overbearing to our kids. So the message is not the same.
Yeah.
So actually, like stopping and stepping back. If your current method is not, the message is not being received the way
Yeah.
you think it should be received,
Sure.
then that's something that we should change so that you don't show up as that overbearing parent that still wants to be there, um and kind of ease that process between, because you don't want to push
Yeah.
your kids away either, but you want to be
No.
there as
And that's a really interesting thing, Adriana, because I don't know if it's the same where you are, but I know in the UK and in Europe at the moment, there's a trend, and it's not a nice one. And it's where children are starting to detach from their parents and
support.
separate from them, go no contact. Is that something that you've experienced with some of your mums as well?
Some of them, but not all of them.
Okay,
And just I would say not all of them because the majority still have kids at home. I have
sure.
a mom that she's also a coach, and she has neurodivergent kids. So her
Sure.
goal with her oldest is, kind of having her being able to have her apartment, start living her life, and be a
Yeah,
little bit more self-sufficient. So that's a very different type of relationship. But, coming from a Hispanic background, the family concept is very strong. So no matter it's like cousins, uncles, aunts, it's so strong that I think that's
yeah.
something that has helped us to kind of maintain that those relationships.
Yeah. And that's good. But I think where we are now in the UK, the families are not strong. And families are very separate, and there's a high case of divorce, lots of movement as well. So families tend to get lost, in translation with that. And it scares me actually that young people are now turning round and ending the relationship with their parents because they don't like something that they've said, or because they haven't given them what they need or given them what they wanted. So it's definitely a problem, I think, in the European countries, and I'm seeing it everywhere. I just wasn't sure about America and, what's happening
We
in
have
that
talked
arena.
about that in our podcast as far as nowadays compared to before, there's so much that's at our fingertips,
Hmm.
and that causes so many instant changes just in individuals. And we're automatically waking up with, high levels of cortisol because of things that are constantly in front of us, right? In our
The
feed, even if you
news.
don't look for it. Yes.
Yeah.
That actually is similar to what happened with Matthew, our youngest, and his goal was, once I go to college, I want to leave home. I want to be as far away from home as I can. And it's like, that is
Yeah.
fine. That's your choice. But these are a couple of things that you're going to come up with. You're going to face yourself with situations where you're going to realize, oh my God, like I wish I was back home. And he would say, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I just want to be far away from here. It's like, that's fine. And then before you know it, things
Hmm.
happen. And it's like, you were right. Like
Yeah.
we do need that support. It's like, yeah, maybe right now you're in a tantrum where you don't want to know anything about us, but the moment that something really happens that's really extreme to your life, the only individuals that are going to be there for you are going to be your parents.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I experienced that with my oldest daughter because she wanted to go 500 miles away, which probably isn't that far in America, but in the UK, it's from the bottom of the country to the north of the country. And I did say to her, try and find something a bit more local, because if you need support, if you need help, it's either a whole day's drive up and down, or get on the train and come and see you. And thank goodness she took the second option, which was nearer to home, because COVID hit and we had to go and get her, and she wasn't allowed out. And, there was a whole mishmash of problems that came alongside that. But it's really interesting, Adriana, have you ever had your own children?
No.
Because I actually think that's an advantage, because just because I think you're able to observe more and much clearer than somebody who has given birth and gone through all the emotions and the attachments, because I know that I was very biased with my children, and they could wrap me around their little finger and I think and I could hear everyone else around me going, really, Tracy, are you doing that for your children? I'm like, yes, because they need me. And actually, it wasn't they needed me. I needed to do that for them because it made me feel
Them.
better. Yeah. And I think sometimes it's best to be able to observe, get my words out, observe, rather than being all in and being quite biased about it all. So, it's really
So
interesting
what you're
talking to
saying
you.
is actually what we're living. So my husband is just like that.
Yes.
And yes, it's so easier for me to be able to step back and kind of look. I can be motherly. I'm not saying that I can't, but
Yeah.
it's easier for me to step back and it's like, okay, let's look at it as if I am not the parent, and let me look at the situation. Let me talk to you as an individual compared to my husband. My husband, he just can't. It's more of a challenge, which is
Yeah.
understandable. I mean,
Yeah.
um, they are his children, so I'm sure there is a different type of connection.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? But yeah, and my husband as well isn't the girl's father, so he has a different opinion as well. So and sometimes there's conflict there, because I know what I want and he knows what should happen, and we have to navigate that and
Yeah.
collaborate and talk about that. So it's really interesting. Good. So if there's any women out there that have got children and they're feeling completely burnt out and completely stressed, Adriana, I know you said already, take a step back, take time for yourself. Is there any other advice that you could give?
Um, Look for help, because
Ah,
even
interesting.
though no matter what type of help it might be,
Yeah.
but sometimes we do need that other individual. If it's coaching, if it's counseling, if it's therapy, don't doubt it. it's out there. The help is out there, and get the help. You don't want to stay in your mind constantly going in circles and you automatically drain yourself out. There's no need for that. And nowadays there's so many resources that can help us. And
Yeah.
if they do feel that they're in a situation where, okay, I've done everything that I can, then just get that help. Better
Yeah.
now than when you're not able to.
And I think sometimes that's easier said than done because there's an element of
Uh-huh.
guilt and shame that you're not good enough, you're not a good enough parent. And I was very guilty of that at times. But I went and educated myself and got help through therapy. So that kind of helped me along that way. So yeah, that's great. Good. So tell us about your podcast, Adriana. What's it called?
My podcast is Dora's Real Talks. It's on Spotify, and
Yeah.
we get together once a month. Different women come on the panel. We have different topics every month, and it is so interesting. I'll throw out the questions a couple days before, and they just show up, and they're just so natural. We go with the flow as far as what people bring up, the conversation. It is very, very raw, and I know that's what people have liked, that there's no editing in it. It's what
Yeah.
happens in the recording, that's their true selves.
Yeah.
And just being able to come together from different places of the world, different backgrounds, and being able to share, our experiences and also learn from each other.
That sounds amazing. And I'll take a look at that. And we'll put the link as well below, on the podcast so people can tune into that.
Awesome.
And that's
Thank you.
great. Well, it's been lovely having you today, Adriana.
Thank you for having me, Tracy. It's
No,
wonderful.
thank you. Yeah, it's amazing that we can communicate like this and connect with like-minded women all over the world at the same time. It's just incredible. But
Yes,
you know, we've actually covered quite a lot today in a very short space of time. So
the conversation just started to flow.
it's great. It's so good. But thank you anyway, and I look forward to hearing your podcast too.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a
Take
good
care,
one.
Adriana. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this episode, I'd be really grateful if you could subscribe, leave a review, and share it with anyone you think might benefit from this conversation. Every subscription, review, and share helps the podcast reach more people and keeps these important conversations going. And if you're wondering what's next, I'd love to welcome you to the Coffee Chat Etc. community, where you'll find coaching courses, our membership, and a supportive space filled with real conversations, encouragement, and inspiration for your next chapter. You can find everything at coffeechatecc.com. Until next time, take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, and remember, every conversation has the power to create connection. See you soon.